What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 13, Episode 9? No, 12? No. It's 9. I'm gonna stick with 9. Pretty sure it's 9. Anyway, this was an interesting one in that this was actually a two-parter. Started off in NCIS and then went to NCIS New Orleans, which I don't watch. I also don't watch NCIS LA either, so it's kind of like, that if they do ever do something like that, I'm not familiar with the characters, so it's kind of hard for me to. But the story was interesting enough for me to watch both parts. Because Abby's brother. I mean, that was the main part of this episode that just got my attention, made me want to find out what happens next, what's going on. Really, really well done with him. The guy that plays him, I don't know who he is, but he did a really good job of playing that just completely innocent-minded person. Like, at times at the beginning of the second part, it got a little annoying, but starting off, you're just like, yeah, this guy he has no idea. He has no clue whatsoever. And at first, it starts off with the head of NCIS New Orleans, Dwayne, is talking to Gibbs on the phone and says, Abby's brother was on the plane. And you're like, oh my god! Which we haven't. I think he was, like, mentioned before. I know she met her real brother, because this is her adopted brother. But I think we saw her adopted brother, but younger, in another episode. But this is the first time we've seen him, like, now. So it was kind of like, when that first happened, I didn't really know him, so it wasn't like, oh no, not whoever he is. It was more like for Abby's sake. And even her reaction was just kind of heart-wrenching. Just the thought of her brother being dead. She was just like, I can't even imagine. I can't deal with it. I can't even let those thoughts into my mind right now. And she was freaking out even at the thought of him being dead. It was really, really emotional. I got kind of emotional too. I can't help it. What can I say? It was an emotional scene. I get emotional sometimes. Don't judge me. It happens. Anyway, but of course they have that moment, which has been done many a time. She looks at the body that they can't identify, and she's like, that's not him, and she has some reason that it can't be him. They've done it before in this show. They've done it before in so many other shows. I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that because it was just one part. But whenever she saw that, I was like, okay, so we're doing this thing again. But it was done. Nobody was like, are you sure you're not just imagining that? Like, there's so many different cliches that they do based on that. And I'm glad they just kind of went, okay, she knows it's not her brother. That's it. That's all we need to know. She has a foolproof thing to know with the ears. That's it. So next, she gets a text message from him, finds out he needs help. She goes and finds him, and finds out that he's actually been with this Russian spy who's been completely fooling him, which apparently is not that hard to do, because he sees the good in everybody. And part of that does have to do with the fact that, he is a Christian, and so he has faith in everybody. He wants to believe in everybody. And they actually had a nice little moment in the second part of the episode with one of the New Orleans agents, because she's talking to him about how, like, you can't seriously just put your faith in everybody. It's like, but then that's not faith. Like, if you can't pick who and when to put your faith in. And that does bring up a very interesting point, and kind of, they didn't go any deeper than that, which I feel like if they did, some people might have gotten a little too, like, oh, why are you getting all religious on us? But it does bring up a very interesting point. And, I mean, I'm a Christian, so obviously I can relate to this. It's hard to pick and choose. It really is. Like, most Christians won't tell you this, but there's a lot of gray area. There's some areas that are black and white, but there's a lot of stuff that in the Bible back in the day, they're very clear rules. But now it's like, some of those rules we don't even pay attention to anymore. Like, I eat bacon. Okay, it's just back then it was a sin. Now, is it really? Like, are we all sinning? Like, and obviously there are some people who still abide by all of those, and those are the the little bit higher ups that think they're better than everybody else. But like I'm saying, this does bring up a very interesting point of how do you pick and choose who to put faith in? How you, even deeper, how you pick and choose who who you go talk to? Because honest, if we're being honest, there are a lot of people that we should like. Okay, God wants us to love everybody. That includes this guy who's the scum of the earth right now. That I've dealt with a lot of these people in my life that are just idiots, that are lazy, that don't want to do any work, that are just that they push everything else onto other people, and other people suffer because of them. And I'm still supposed to love them the same as my best friend. That's hard to do. And so for him, putting faith in everybody is just so easy. Even after seeing all of this stuff that she does, seeing all this, like she's being accused of murder, she's been lying to him, she's bugged his place to get information. Even after all of that, he's still like, she must have had a good reason. And that's where it's. I wish they had talked a little bit more about it because it's a very interesting topic. What do you do when your faith is challenged? What do you do when your faith in somebody is put to the test and is even proven wrong? What do you do then? Because they didn't, like, he just kept on believing in her, and in the end, she was kind of innocent, but she's still not innocent at the same time. And he didn't ever really have to confront it, and that disappointed me a little bit. Like, they had such a good premise to go on and maybe go a little bit deeper. Because NCIS is not really, like, they do some good moral stuff. They have a lot of good moral stuff. Especially, 13 seasons, you have to have a lot of good moral stuff. But they normally don't go really deep. Like, they just kind of touch on the surface of some stuff and kind of give you the information that you already know, like how to deal with certain people, and the morals that you already know. This could have been something to really dig into a bit. And not even on a religious level, just like faith in other people. Like, how do you deal with somebody who, like, you completely trusted them and they've broken that trust, but you still, like, because mainly Jake and Ellie are the two I can think of. He completely broke her trust and she still wanted to try to work through it, but then she figured out it wasn't there to begin with. Like, what we had wasn't the right thing, and that's why they divorced. With Luca and Eva, it's like, well, they're still, it's not like they're wrong for each other, and even at the end, like, it kind of seemed like she really did have feelings for him. So was his faith really misplaced in her, or was it? I wanted them to go deeper on it. I wanted them to touch a bit more on it, but they did not. And that's probably my one other problem with this episode, besides the whole cliche thing with Abby identifying the body, is that they just had it was so many possibilities they could have done, and they didn't. They just kind of brushed it aside. But that was, I mean, like I said, Luca was the main thing that kept me watching, even through NCIS New Orleans. The case itself was pretty interesting, but it was kind of hard to follow near the end, just because they started throwing names that you hadn't heard since, like, the beginning of NCIS, like, over an hour ago, and you only heard the name once, and so it turns out to be Jenner Bly, the name of the billionaire scientist that Luca was cooking for. His bodyguard is taking out people, and when they said his name, I'm like, who? Like, I feel like I should know who that is, but I don't. And then finally they said, what was Jenner Bly's bodyguard? And I'm like, oh, that's, or security guard, something like that. And then they come to find out that Jenner Bly is actually the one trying to eliminate everybody, mainly because of this meeting talking about something called manta ray that was going to do something with the. Like I said, it got. If your attention lapses for like a second, all of a sudden you've missed what is manta ray exactly. I forget. It it was another case. It was a good case. It was fairly interesting, but that's not why I watch NCIS. Like I don't watch NCIS for the cases anymore. This one had an interesting start until they finally figured out what what killed him. Because at first it kind of seemed like one of those locked room mysteries where everybody's on the plane and they're not really sure how they died. At first we thought it was this one thing, but now it's not this one thing. So it was interesting at first, but once they figured it out, after that it was just a whodunit mystery, like NCIS is. And normally that one, the cases are okay. They're better than Bones. If you don't know what I'm talking about with Bones, just go watch my other reviews. You'll understand. But the cases are okay. But the main reason I watch NCIS is for the characters themselves, and that's kind of why I haven't watched New Orleans or LA, because I haven't really the characters are not as interesting as the original NCIS. Now that being said, I haven't really tried to watch either of them. Like I met the characters obviously whenever they had the NCIS episode that started the spinoff, but just from those I'm just like, I can't really see myself connecting with these characters. So anyway, that's just my personal opinion about NCIS New Orleans. It may be a good show, I don't know, but it can't be nearly as good as the original NCIS. So, as I'm watching into the second one, there's just more of Luca. There's a bit more of Abby involved, and I really did enjoy Abby and Luca, like their family. It was so obvious that they were family. The way that she cared about him, it's very obvious that she really does care about her brother. And seeing her go through that emotional moment of, wait, why is he trying to meet her again? Why is he allowed to escape? What's going on? I need to know what's going on. That was very well done, and I could connect with that. Maybe not for my brother because we don't really get along, but family, family does connect like that. Getting messages and stuff. The other part of it is Ellie. She was in New Orleans with the team. They did a pretty cool thing at the beginning where Ducky and Jimmy they get pulled over. I was like, are we really doing this again? Where they get stopped for the body that they're carrying? But then it turns out they don't have the body because Ellie actually had it. It was a clever twist by Gibbs. But she gets the body down to New Orleans so that they can do the autopsy there because they know that Eva is in New Orleans. And so, she's down there with the team. She's met most of them whenever they first had the introduction to the NCIS New Orleans. And so they do have this nice moment with her and I think her name's Brody, maybe the brunette. They have this moment where they're in the car and she's still dealing with the divorce a little bit. And because I knew this was how they were going to do it, just because they've done it before, other shows have done it before. Generally, if you're talking to somebody that you don't know, you're more likely to open up about stuff because you don't know them. Whereas Tony and McGee, she knows them very well. They're her friends. They're her colleagues. If she opens up to them about some stuff, she has to see them on a daily basis. That if you say the wrong thing, that can come back to haunt you. So it's more likely that you're going to open up to somebody you don't know. So she does. She opens up to the brunette and finally just admits that she has been struggling, but she shouldn't. She's okay overall. She's just okay. She's still her. Jake is still Jake. They're just not together anymore, and that's how it should be. And mainly she's just struggling with the fact that everybody keeps wanting to talk about it when she's all right with it. So it was nice to see her have that moment of clarity. And interesting that it happened in an NCIS New Orleans episode. So, but yeah, it was well done. Really could respect it. The other final interesting thing to talk about, they did have that one Russian guy that they had back in, I think it was the last season, with the Sergey guy, Anton. At the time, I thought he was a bad guy, and in this one, I'm like, why is he still here? I thought he was a bad guy. But as it turns out, he was kind of a good guy, and he died. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like they brought him back just to kill him off. I was like, well, that's weird. Um, but yeah, I don't. I guess I said I only had two main problems. This was kind of the third one. I didn't understand why they brought him back just to kill him off. It's like, why? um, because it really just was out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, it's that Anton guy. I thought he was a bad guy. And then all of a sudden, like, he pours the drink, and you're like, Gibbs, don't drink it, it's probably poison. And then he drinks it, and it's poison, and you're like, what the heck? I thought he was a bad guy, and now he's dead. It's like, whoa, what's going on? So the way they handled that was pretty poor. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was good. I really did enjoy getting to meet Luca. He was a very interesting character. I hope they'd bring him back a bit more. Oh, one more thing to talk about. And it's another bad thing. But I kind of brushed it off because it was at the beginning of the NCIS episode. So Tony and Zoe broke up. If you've watched some of my other reviews, you know that one of my biggest problems with NCIS is how they handle relationships. Like for a while, McGee and DiNozzo were just in and out of, well, mainly DiNozzo, in and out of relationships. Like one episode, he's with this girl. They seem to have a moment. And then the next episode, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, well, we just didn't work out. Zoe, I didn't even notice because, I don't know, I guess I wasn't paying attention, but she and DiNozzo were apparently in a relationship for a little while. I didn't even realize that until a couple episodes before the mid-season finale because they started talking about her. They're like, how's she doing? Oh, she's doing good. And so to have them separate, it's just like, why? Like, I really don't understand why they do this with relationships. Just have them meet some, like McGee and Delilah, good couple. I'm waiting to see where that develops. You know, they've already taken some really drastic steps in their relationship, and it's just like, well, that's all they've done. Like, just keep taking steps, guys, little steps, baby steps. Oh, here's a big step in this episode, but now they're just back to little steps, and now they're just taking the time. Do something. Like, I want to see a marriage. I want to see a child. I don't know. Like, Jimmy and Rena are the only two that have really gotten a relationship. And it's like, it's Jimmy Palmer. Like, he's kind of a side character. Like, no offense to Jimmy at all, or Brian, whatever the actor's name is. Like, I really do enjoy his character, but he's always kind of to the side. You know, they have these funny moments with him from time to time with Gibbs and how scared he is of Gibbs, but like, he's not a huge character. Whereas McGee and Tony and Ellie and Gibbs and Ducky, Abby, those are the main six. You know, those are the main six. And then on the side you've got the director, and then you got Jimmy. And so it's like, yeah, he's married, he has a kid, that's great. I want to see something happen with the main, and of course, you know, everything going on with Ellie and Jake right now, kind of a big deal. But other than that, like, it just seems like McGee's still in a relationship with Delilah, not really going anywhere. Tony finally settled down with Zoe for a little bit, and now that's done, so now he's out of a relationship. Gibbs, obviously, nothing's going to replace Shannon or his little girl, so he's not going anywhere. Ducky, a little bit old to be dating, but you know, he's had a couple flings every now and then, and those have been fun to watch, but they never turn out anything. And Abby's she's Abby. You know, I don't know if she'll ever be satisfied settling down with a guy. But I don't know. Like, the characters are what interests me. I want to see these characters grow. I want to see them do something different, and they're not. Like, they're just kind of staying the same. Like, this divorce with Jake is the first big thing that's happened in any of their lives recently. And I mean, they had Ducky's brother in the mid-season finale. They had Abby's brother in this one. That's good stuff. Like, I want to see more about their lives, because that's what I care about. That's what this show has got me hooked on for 13 seasons. they've done characters so well that I just want to see more. I want to see more about them. And so, yeah, the cases are fairly interesting, but if you have nothing about them, if their lives just stay the same over 13 years, what have we done? Like, what's the growth? What's the point of it? And that's where I'm getting a little hung up, is that they're just, they're not changing the right things. They're changing certain things, but that's my frustration, I guess. Now we'll see where it goes. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the writers are thinking. Got 2 weeks until the next episode. Yay! I don't know why TV shows do this to me. It's like, hey, we're back, and now you gotta wait a whole 2 weeks for the next episode. Psych. Yeah. So that's my opinion on this 2-hour special. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll write back. We can discuss it. I can tell you how wrong you are. And leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more NCIS stuff. Check out my other videos. I've got a lot of TV shows that I watch. I have no life. So, yeah. See you at the next review. Peace out.